classes with CentumApp. So today we are going to see the topic reproduction in organisms. So reproduction is a very vast topic where it involves sexual and asexual reproduction. So in today's class we're going to have a gist of what is reproduction in organisms. Let's get started. So the objectives of today's class is to identify the four stages of the lifespan of an organism, to define the process of reproduction, to know the methods of reproduction which I just mentioned to you now, which is sexual and asexual method of reproduction, and also to understand asexual reproduction and its types. Okay, so this is what we are going to see in detail in today's class. So here, one important thing that we need to know is what do you mean by lifespan? Okay, so when you talk about lifespan, so the period between the birth and death of an organism is called the lifespan. It is how much longer you live. Okay, the period between the birth and the death of an organism is called the lifespan. So lifespan does not really depend upon how small of an organism you are or how large of an organism you are. Okay, so lifespan does not correlate to the size of an organism. Okay, whether you're small as a crow or mighty big as a lion, lifespan does not depend upon the size of an organism. Okay, so the lifespan can vary from organism to organism, but death is certain except for single cell organisms. Okay, one thing I want to stress here is that how it doesn't matter, right, how small or how big of an organism you are, its lifespan varies and it is always certain that there is death of an organism. Okay, totally the end of the life of a particular organism leads to death of the individual organism. Okay, but here that is certain except for single cell organisms. Okay, so there is no lifespan or time period of survival for single cell organisms. Okay, so lifespan includes four major stages. Okay, so it is juvenility, maturity, aging and senescence, and death. So what is juvenility? The capacity of any organism to reproduce, to give birth, that is known as juvenility. Maturity, reproduction begins at this stage. Okay, so when an organism reaches a matured stage in its life where it has the ability to reproduce, so that is known as maturity. Okay, then you have aging and senescence. Okay, so aging, as we know, we all grow older, right? So even organisms grow older. Okay, so aging and senescence is progressive deterioration of the body. What do you mean by progressive deterioration of the body? Is that, so when you talk about humans, for example, so your hair gets tend to get gray. Okay, you start getting gray hairs, then your skin gets wrinkled up. Okay, you tend to lose some body fat, you have wrinkles all over your body, you lose your eyesight. So all of this comes under aging. So as you grow older, all these things, you can see all these changes in your body. So that is progressive deterioration of the body. Even your cells tend to die slowly. Okay, so irreversible stage of aging is called senescence. So we all know that when we attain a certain age, we cannot go back to what we were. Okay, so now suppose if we are 12 or 20 years old and another 10 years we get 30 years old, so we cannot come back to what we were. We cannot come back to 12 or 20 years old again. So this is known as senescence. Okay, so aging is deterioration of the body, and whereas senescence is irreversible changes. Okay, you cannot reverse aging. That is known as senescence. Then you have death. So no matter how long you live or how strong you are, the final end of every life is death. Okay, so death cannot be stopped at all. At one point in life, you or any organism for that matter, except for single-celled organisms, finally leads to death. Okay, senescence. So what is reproduction? So we all know reproduction is a biological process where a young one or an offspring is formed. So another important thing about reproduction is that an offspring can be formed with two parents or either one parent. Okay. So biological process, new organisms gives rise to young ones or offsprings, which would be, this is very important, similar to itself. Okay, your offspring is always similar to yourself, similar to the parent. Okay, so the offsprings, they grow, they mature, and they again reproduce new offspring. So this enables a continuity of species generation. Okay, so that is how generation after generation, be it humans, mammals, birds, any kind of organism, the continuity of a species, of a generation is continued only because of the process of reproduction. Okay, so reproduction is of two methods, as I told you, asexual and sexual reproduction. Okay, so we are going to see what is asexual reproduction. So asexual reproduction is where only a single parent is involved. So you don't need two different parents. Asexual reproduction is where only single parent is involved to produce an offspring. Okay, so the offsprings are morphologically and genetically similar. So in this case, these are known as clones. Okay. So the type of asexual reproduction, one you have fission, fragmentation, budding, vegetative propagation, regeneration, and spore formation. Okay, so these are the different types of asexual reproduction. I repeat again: fission, fragmentation, budding, vegetative propagation, regeneration, and spore formation. So we'll see each of this in detail with its related examples. So this is regeneration. Regeneration, you know, it happens in planaria. Okay, it's where a main organism divides into different parts, and then each part of it becomes a whole organism. Okay, then budding is yeast, we know. Okay, budding, binary fission. Okay, budding is where from the main organism a slight bud is formed, and this bud tends to grow. Once it grows to a particular size, it is cut off from the mother or the parent organism. Okay, then you have vegetative propagation, mainly occurs in plants. Okay, sporulation. Okay, spirogyra, spores formation. All of that comes under sporulation, where the spores break out and each of that spores fall and develop into another organism. Then you have vegetative propagation. This again got to do with plants. Okay. So what is the difference between binary fission and multiple fission? Okay, so binary fission refers to the division of parent cell into two small, equal-sized, identical daughter individuals. Okay, very important. Binary fission refers to the division of the parent cell into two small equal daughter cells which are of the same size and they are mainly identical. Okay, whereas for multiple fission, it is division of parent into several small cells. Here two small cells, here several small equal sized individuals. Here also it's equal sized but divides into several individuals. Parent cell does not break away. For example, in amoeba, this is the parent amoeba with a nucleus. This continues to grow, okay, and then you have the daughter cells formed. Okay, here parent cell breaks away, releasing many individuals at once. Does not break away. Here it breaks away. This is multiple fission in Plasmodium. Okay, we know Plasmodium, which is involved in malaria. So with the cytoplasm and the nucleus, here daughter cells are released, and each of these daughter cells, they become the another parent. Budding. Daughter individual is formed from a bud. Okay, like I told you, example of budding is yeast and hydra. So this is budding in yeast, where you have the parent cell with the nucleus. Then you have a small bud that is formed. This bud tends to grow bigger. Okay, and then you have many daughter yeast formed, and then it is finally cut off from the parent plant. This is budding. Okay, hydra, example of budding in hydra. So you have the parent plant, then you see the node arises, this node grows. Once it is fully grown, it detaches and forms a new hydra, and this new hydra tends again to reproduce. Okay, sporulation. So what is sporulation? Under favorable conditions, amoeba secretes a covering around itself. Okay, it encysts itself. This is known as encystation. So under favorable conditions, okay, when the conditions are favorable for it to break open, so it breaks open and the spores again divide by multiple fission, and then you have many amoebas that are formed. Okay, so the process when the cell breaks open and the spores are released, this is known as sporulation. Okay, so example of that, fungi and algae, these two also along with amoeba reproduces by sporulation. So regeneration, which is another mechanism. So in regeneration is the capacity to regenerate an injured part. So commonly what we come to remember is when you talk about regeneration is a common house lizards. Okay, so most of us must have seen when a house lizard loses its tail. Okay, the tail tends to grow back. So this is a very important and a very common example of regeneration. Okay, so the two types of regeneration, morphollaxis and epimorphosis. So morphollaxis takes place in hydra where the whole body is formed. Okay, so suppose hydra just integrates, so whole body is regenerated again. Okay, so epimorphosis is where replacement of a lost body part. So that's what I told you, the example of a house lizard. Then you have fragmentation. So you know what do you mean by fragments. Segments are fragments. So fragmentation where the parent body breaks into two or more fragments, and each of these fragments develop into a new parent, okay, new individual. So an example of it is Spirogyra and sponges and echinoderms, which are starfish. Okay. Then we have vegetative reproduction. This is a common type of asexual reproduction, which is in plants. That's what when we spoke about the types of asexual reproduction, I told you that vegetative propagation is mainly related to plants. Okay, so vegetative reproduction, each unit of it is known as vegetative propagules. Okay, the segment of it is known as vegetative propagules. So the examples of it is runner, oxalis, rhizome, ginger, bulb, garlic, sucker, banana, tuber, potato. Okay. So one important thing in this lesson is water hyacinth. Okay, water hyacinth is called the terror of Bengal. Okay, it is a very dangerous weed. So when this water hyacinth is spread in the lake, it tends to take away all the oxygen from the other aquatic plants, thus killing all the other aquatic plants for its own survival. Alright, so it propagates a phenomenal rate and spreads all over the water body. So it spreads all over the water body, taking the oxygen amount all for itself. So vegetative propagation in bryophyllum. So this, you see, from the ends of the leaf, you have another whole plant that is being formed. And this is eyes of potato. So you have certain spots that develop on the potato, and these spots tend to grow. So these spots are known as the eye of the potato, and they tend to grow. Next is rhizome. Again, buds are formed and each node again develops into another whole ginger. So let's see some of the important questions that I've asked over the years in this particular topic. So clones are, what are clones? Are they genetically similar, morphologically similar, both genetic and morphologically similar, or none of these? So I told you clones, mainly you talk about asexual reproduction, which is derived from a single parent, and here the offspring is same exactly like the parents over there, morphologically and genetically similar. Alright. So the option is both A and B. Next, which one of the following statement is not correct? In banana, potato, and ginger, the plantlets arise from the internodes present in the modified stem. Offspring produced by asexual reproduction is also called a clone. Water hyacinth can deplete oxygen and cause the death of fishes, or all of the above. So the thing is here, which of the following statement is not correct? We need to read our question properly. Okay, so here the answer would be banana, potato, and ginger, the plantlets arise from the internodes present in the modified stem. Okay, so this is incorrect, where the internodes do not reproduce from the modified stem. A piece of potato tuber will form a new plant if it has a stored food, roots, branches, or eye. Okay, so if the potato, I just explained to you, if the potato has an eye, that will develop into a new plant. Okay. Plants, animals, or fungi differ in all of these aspects. Okay, so plants, animal, or fungi differ in all of these aspects except pattern of sexual mode of reproduction, internal structure, external morphology, or physiology. Just pattern of sexual mode of reproduction, because method of sexual reproduction differs in plants, animals, or be it any microorganism. So we come to the end of this topic. Do follow us for more interesting biology content. Thank you.
CentumApp. You dare to dream, we care to accomplish.